Hey my YouTube friends, Late Boy Scout here with my front sight vlog day one. Here's my report from everything I did on the first day. I'll try to condense this, I'll try to summarize, try not to get off on too many tangents and bore you guys. Try to just give you enough information to let you know what the experience was like. Well, it's the 4-day handgun training course, and that means that on the first day there's a lot of things you need to do to sort of qualify your gear, your gun, your holster, your electronic ears, your other gear, and make sure that it's up to their standards. This morning I got there at about 6:30 a.m. When I arrived, I checked in. They assigned me to a range. I was on range 7, and then passed me down the line to get my gear checked out. Of course, I had the Glock 19. And it is riding in my Glock Sport Combat holster, which, guess what? It's good enough for front sight, it's good enough for all of you. That's the way I see it. If they think that the Glock Sport Combat holster, a $15 holster, is okay, buy it. They checked out the rest of my gear, the mag pouch that I was using. I don't have that here, it's a double mag pouch made by Blackhawk, I think, and it worked out fine. The ears, everything else, they're totally fine with all my gear. That was great. Then they passed us on to a classroom where we received an introduction to front sight, and also were given some safety release forms to sign. Also, we were introduced to the sort of partner system that front sight uses, which is a system wherein the student is the coach. And so they pair us up at different times, not at different times, but for a good portion of the range time, we get paired up. And one of us will go first, be on the range first, on the line first, and then we'll have a coach with us who's also a student, and they'll be watching us. We had just learned a bunch of stuff. They'll be watching us and helping us stay safe and follow the procedure as the instructors gave it to us. And they'll be watching us the whole time and coaching us on that. And then it will be their turn, and then we will reverse places, and then I coach them. Now, I came down here by myself. I don't have any buddies with me, which meant that I kind of switched out and moved around between a couple different people and met some nice new folks today and got to be their coach. They were my coach. It was very cool. Good experience. I enjoyed it. That not only relieved a little bit of the burden from the instructors, but it helped us to actually learn things twice, and that's always a good thing. After that introduction in the classroom, we went out for our first range time. During that, we learned front sight's procedure for the chamber and magazine check for any firearm that you draw. And we also did a little bit of instructor-assisted shooting. I'll go through real quickly what the chamber mag check technique is that they recommend, or that how they do it. My gun is already safety checked, by the way, but I'm going to do that for you on camera right now. Weaver stance, all right, 30-degree weaver stance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, no, 4 is here, then 5. Now at this point, you bring it back in. Safety check means, or in this case, the chamber check and magazine check means that you grab the front of the gun. You put your index finger out, the index finger that goes along on your shooter hand, your index finger goes out, flares out like this, okay? Then your support hand comes under the gun, grabs the front of the slide, and brings it back just far enough to break it. You peer in there, and all you see is blackness. That means you're clear. But then you do one more check, rotate the gun, get a finger inside the mag well. Now you know you're clear. Now you can bring this back in, reholster it, whatever the case. Okay, so that's one of the first things that we learned is how to manage that. And they expect you to do that pretty much anytime you're on the range. They always encouraged us to do that, to present, bring it back, and then do that, check, just like that. I'll do that really quickly, close for you. Just a matter of getting your finger flared out like that, wrapping these fingers from your support hand around the front of it, and then bringing that back just enough to break it and see inside, okay? Now we also did some instructor-assisted shooting, and for all the brand new shooters that were there, this was very helpful. Here's what it basically entailed. The shooter, myself for instance, would bring the gun out to the target, okay, and it was my job to hold the sights and keep them aligned. This is kind of where we learned about sight alignment and basically just how to be surprised by that trigger. And while I kept my finger outside of the trigger guard, the instructor came alongside me and actually manipulated the trigger for me. Because of that, because I was focusing only on sight alignment and the instructor focused only on trigger, it was a pretty well-placed shot. From there, we went to the instructors doing another sort of assisted shooting where they actually placed my finger on the trigger. One more time. Placed my finger on the trigger, okay, and then they pressed my finger back and I let it go loose, I let it go limp. They pressed my finger back. We did dry fire first and then we did live practice. And they helped me to see where that trigger reset to also. Okay, and that only resets obviously if you're doing actual real shooting. I'm probably leaving some things out, but after that first range time, we went in and had lunch, and during lunch we watched a DVD presentation by Dr. Piazza, Ignatius Piazza, the founder of Front Sight. I'll maybe talk about him some more in another video. It was a very interesting video talking a lot about our Second Amendment rights and how under fire they are, how Front Sight does a lot to help protect them. And you know, it was really kind of a sales pitch for Front Sight, but at the same time, I really do recognize what they're doing by bringing people to this school and exposing them to some real good training of all sorts so that they can go out, influence their friends and relatives, bring them to Front Sight. And yes, Front Sight makes a lot of money in this way, but also a lot of attitudes are changed about gun owners, about being prepared as a gun owner and how to use your firearm and so forth. Your attitude is changed, everything you do becomes different. One of the things he talked about actually was how they've invited so many people from the media to Front Sight. Actually, media personnel contact Front Sight and want to do a story about Front Sight most of the time. And often those media personnel have a pre-existing agenda. They want to paint gun owners in a very, they're crazy sort of way. And that's what their plan is. That's the kind of story they plan to write about Front Sight. But Dr. Piazza has said to all of them, come here, you want to do a story on Front Sight, great, but you have to take my Uzi submachine gun course first. So they come out, they learn how to safely and effectively operate an Uzi submachine gun, and then they get to write their story. And every single time it ends up being positive because they see what great information is being given out by Front Sight and the quality of the training that's being given. And that's one way that I think Front Sight is doing a great job to change hearts and minds about gun ownership and about gun owners and about the Second Amendment in a positive way. Next, there was a lecture about the color code of awareness, which many of you guys already know about. Condition white, condition yellow, condition orange, red, and black. Black being where you're actually in the fight. Red being where you are preparing to get into the fight. In other words, your gun is drawn and you're making decisions about when to fire. Orange being when you are giving verbal and possibly physical warnings to the would-be attacker. Stay away, I might draw on you, kind of thing. Yellow is the condition you're in where you are recognizing threats. Orange, again, was more like a recognizing a threat and then, beginning to act to counter that threat. But yellow is always being on the lookout for threats. And this isn't like in a scary paranoid kind of way. It's just that one of the ways that they put it, which I thought was great, in a four-way stop kind of way. When you come to a four-way stop in your car, what do? Do you look around and you're just kind of like waiting, making sure that nothing is coming? Or do you just stop quickly, look side to side, nothing's coming, then you go? That's what condition yellow is. That's the way they described it. It makes a lot of sense to me. And people sometimes criticize condition yellow, saying that when you're in condition yellow, you can't be creative, you can't be fun, you can't be any of these things. I completely disagree. Maybe I'll talk more about that in the future. Condition white is basically sleeping or watching movies, maybe surfing the internet. That's condition white. Absolutely no awareness, no concern about what else is going on around you. That's condition white. So after that lecture, we went out for some more range time in which we practiced and learned about presentation. So there are 5 steps to that handgun presentation. Step 1, your support hand side comes up to your body like this, fingers closed, thumb about where the sternum is, and your firing hand, your gun hand, comes up and gets a positive grip, okay, pushes down and gets a positive grip on your gun. All right, that's number 1. And one of the ways they describe this is a violent step. The first step is violent. The rest are, how do they describe it? Like a ballet, okay? You do it as slow as you need to be proficient at it. But the first step is fast and violent. And my hand is a little too high there. I need to practice, obviously. So the first step is fast and violent. And then after that, 2 is actually drawing the weapon from your holster. 3 is rotating it forward. 4 is connecting your support hand to your handgun. 5 is actually presenting it to your target. Back to 4, back to 3, 2, and then slowly, cautiously reinsert it into your holster. They also talked about the 3 secrets, which are not going to be secret for very long. Actually, they may stay secret because I might have forgotten one of them. The grip is just like you see it right here. Okay, your thumbs are high and loose, not actually gripping that gun. Your hands are doing all of that. And your thumbs are placed just like they are. This is what front sight teaches, okay? Lots of other people teach different things, but this is what they teach. Your firing hand is pushing out while your support hand is pulling in. And this creates the stability, and when your elbow is down, and this creates the stability you need to manage that muzzle rise and recoil. Of course, sight alignment, they taught us a little bit about that. I understood that pretty well already. But sight alignment, and then also trigger control. 1 second. And also trigger control, meaning to pull that slack up, and then, I gotta get my finger in the right position. To pull that slack up, and then slowly and evenly break that trigger. So we worked on all that for a while. One of those things was, of course, the Weaver stance. It talked about the 30-degree position that your body should be in. When you're facing your opponent, your attacker, your body should be at about a 30-degree stance. Bladed stance, they called it. One that gives you the maximum support for this sort of attack. All right? It makes a lot of sense. After working on that stance, on our grip, on sight alignment, and all those things, we worked on actually shooting some controlled pairs. First, we worked on getting those pairs close together, working on accuracy. Then we worked on trying to get that a little bit faster and doing it just semi-quick, getting those controlled pairs pretty close together. And they demonstrated, and talked about the fact that if your shots are very, very close together, maybe you're taking it a little bit too slow, focusing too much on accuracy, you can speed it up. If they're far apart, you're working too hard on speed, you need to work a little bit harder on accuracy. After we worked on those controlled pairs, then we started working on after-action drills. Basically means take your shot, you step, you look left and right quickly, then you assess the target for a good solid 2 seconds, and then you scan the area to either side of the target, okay, to look for more threats. Now this could be a much larger area depending on what your actual situation is, but the idea is to scan the area. And as you scan, your gun moves with your eyes, okay? It doesn't move with your eyes when you're doing your quick look. It does move with your eyes when you're doing your scan, after you've assessed your target. And the last thing we did today, we heard a lecture about morality and about right and wrong and when it's okay to shoot defensively. And this was a very interesting lecture. One of the general rules that you can always count on is that in order to be able to engage a threat with a firearm, you've got to be able to know and show that there was an immediate threat of death or serious bodily injury to an innocent. Then you're justified in using the deadly force of a handgun. If not, you're not. So that's it, guys. Kind of a lengthy recap of my first day at Front Sight, and I'll be back with a recap of the second day. So stay tuned. Thank you very much for watching. I'm the late Boy Scout. We'll see you later.